From the Standing Stone Farm Studio right outside downtown Nashville, it's time for the most ridiculous sports podcast in the world. So sit back, relax, and listen as Bobby Butler and Brandon Bond crack open a cold one and talk all things hockey, pop culture, and complain about everyday situations. It's the Pucks Out Podcast on the Penalty Box Radio Network.
Welcome into the most ridiculous podcast of sports and pop culture. I'm Bobby. He's Brandon.
Hey-o.
You can find us on the three majors of social media at Pucks Out Pod. Now let's crack open this cold Mayday beer. Let's get after it. Pucks Out is powered by Mayday Brewery. Mayday Brewery. Wow, I can't speak. It's been a while. The official beer of Pucks Out Podcast. Catch them every Tuesday for Singo and Thursday for Bingo. And stay on the I guess listen around, stay up to date because we might be hosting sometime the next month or two. Who knows? Maybe sometime in December.
Who's to say?
A little
Who's to
holiday
say?
cheer.
Who's to say?
Pick
A little holiday beer is what I'm thinking, brother.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
Ayo.
You was right there, dude. I thought that's where you were going, and then you would just.
Well, I was throwing the alley oop up, but you had to slam it home.
It is basketball season, brother. It is basketball season.
Today we have got a lot of news. We got a little bit of for our main topic, and then we got our games of the week. Check us out on Patreon and Twitch to support the show. How are you this week, my man?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I'm not terrible. Just pushing through. Excited about this weekend going to the Auburn Vandy game. I was trying to be a broke boy, but just go to the tailgate and hang out and stuff. But my parents wouldn't allow it and snatched up an extra ticket someone had. So I'll be going to the game. All 4,000 people that can fit there at Vanderbilt Stadium will be there. I have not had a lot of success with going to Auburn at Vandy. At game day, went to game day there when James Franklin was there and Vandy was good and Auburn lost. So I'm really hoping. I think we're gonna put an absolute thrashing on them, brother. We seem to be getting it together a little bit. And I need it because one of my bosses at work is a big Vandy fan, and bro, I'm calling out sick next week if we take an L, because I've let it be known that Vanderbilt is a trash organization, and it should be touted as such. How about yourself, man? How you been doing?
Doing absolutely amazing. It is that time of year where the weather starts getting more up my style. I love that it's darker more often. I that's when I thrive. It's amazing. I love it. I get to work when it's dark. When I get out of work when it's dark. It's awesome.
Hate the darkness early, but I do enjoy the cooler weather. So I agree with you there.
All right, let's jump into
fit check. You ain't gonna fit check.
I mean,
you ain't even fit checking it.
My bad. What you got?
In honor of your students, Bob, I wore. I'm just trying to get some cheap alcohol, so I wore my Montana hat. I'm gonna get out there after work, one of these days, and just get a few cheap shots, just got the regular, keeping it clean with the straight red. I guess maroon. Did you say maroon?
Yeah,
maroon.
It's a little too bright to be maroon.
I think it's more the bright lights. Burgundy is the money. That's the money. That was you landed that plane, dude, for sure.
Yeah. No hat for me today. I just got it back from work. Can't wear a hat at work, but rocking just a button up and some khaki pants, even though you can't see them because I'm on.
Okay.
Just rocking the work fit.
It happens.
But all right, let's jump into the news.
Everything you need to know about what's happening on the ice. It's time for news from inside the boards.
This was a tragic accident that was all over the news. Even non Like it even made like the
Yeah,
mainstream.
it was
news.
mainstream for sure. I haven't got to see the video. It's been hard for me to locate a video of the event. I'm sorry, I didn't even let
I have not seen the
you
video.
say. I didn't let you even say the accident. I'll go ahead. I'll let you finish before I interrupt you.
American hockey player Adam Johnson, who appeared in 13 NHL games with the Penguins, has died after his neck was cut by a skate during a game in England, specifically Nottingham, England, on Saturday. He was 29 years old. He was playing with the Nottingham Panthers in a Challenge Cup game against
terrible,
Sheffield
dude.
Steelers.
Terrible, dude. I haven't seen a video of the event. It's hard to search for something like that without getting the FBI flagging you with keywords and whatnot. But I haven't been able to find it. But from what I've heard and what I've talked to people that have seen it, it was like, there was like that potential chance that it was an intentional, and it's being investigated at this point by police type of deal. The goalie go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, you have to be careful because, historically, the sheriff of Nottingham is not a great guy.
That is what I'm saying, dude. He's bought and paid for. So hopefully they can get some independent investigators there. That's what I'd like to see, just to make sure everything's on the
Maybe
up and
Kevin
up.
Costner can come help.
But the goalie that it happened to for the Vancouver Canucks, and his name escapes me at the moment. But I know you remember seeing this video of that happening to that guy, them rushing him out the back very quickly. And he became a huge proponent for net guards in the
I'm sure
wearing that net guard. And he made a statement in a video renewing his call for that. And Erik Karlsson, Marcus Pettersson, 2 other Penguins are wearing net guards in practice. I've heard some other guys are wearing net guards in practice. This is one of those things that it's like, yeah, man, you don't look as cool for sure. But you know what's cool? Not getting your neck cut by a skate. I'm sure this will be one of those things that will eventually get grandfathered in to where new incoming players are required to wear it. And just like the helmets were with the face masks. But yeah, it's a thing that if everybody does it and it's mandated, then nobody has to worry about being the guy that does it or the guy that wears that neck guard. It's very clear that I don't know about you, but I'm surprised it doesn't happen. Not people dying, but like, obviously people get cut with skates all the time, but I'm surprised that there's not more harder injuries, because
especially like I see all the time where like there's a lot of close calls.
Right.
I'm looking at the video now. I haven't been able to like slow it down to see like exactly where it had. If this was on purpose, the guy who did it is Neo. Wait a second.
That's what they're saying.
Oh my God. Yeah. It looks like he Sweet Chin Music them pretty much. I mean, it looks like he did a full.
I don't think anybody is saying that this cat intentionally tried to kill the guy. Like, did he wake up that morning thinking, I'm gonna kill someone on the ice tonight? No, but if you're doing that, there's the acknowledgement that you are putting a blade up at somebody, right? I mean, even if I mean, at any level, if it hits the leg or it hits the arm or whatever, it hits an artery, it's all the same. It just seems like So what are your thoughts? I like when I was talking to Jackson, like I would like to reserve judgment until I see it. But what are your initial thoughts? Again, I don't think you're calling this cat a murderer. But do you think that there's some intent to hit this guy with the skate? Let me ask you that.
if looking at this 17-second clip and looking at the maybe 3 milliseconds of the actual contact, I'm going to go ahead and say no with the information I have. If more information comes out and this guy is a chronic, like he chronically does this stuff and he's always getting into trouble and he's purposely like done dirty hits, then obviously my opinion changes. I think it's one of those situations where it looks like he lost his balance and maybe he like tried to overcorrect and his leg came at a weird angle. Cause it's not like he was by himself. Like he was fighting for position with somebody else when it happened. Yeah. So that's why I said like, this guy would have to be like a figure skater to purposely do that.
Yeah, I would have
because kicking someone isn't like a move, and like you don't kick someone in the chest when you're both standing up in hockey. That's not normally a thing you do as a dirty play.
Yeah, I would definitely like to reserve judgment, as I don't, not that I have inside information on really any type of thing, but I'm not tuned in to their hockey world over there. But I would like to err on that side as well. It's sounding a lot like the Tony Stewart incident where he hit the guy and
Tony purposely murdered that guy.
Where it's sounding a lot like that. That it's very easy that when you throw something in slow motion to assign some blame. But like you're saying, it should be that. We should watch it in real time too, because that's how it actually happened, and not just continuously watch things in slow motion. Because we have to remember that people don't operate like that. I would like to side on the fact of whether or not this guy is a known dirty player or whatever. That he would not try to stab somebody with this skate. I mean, that's
and it looks like he tried to go for a hip check and he got his leg a little too high. And because the guy, and then Adam Johnson decided he wanted to turn, he kind of went a little bit lower than you normally would. So it literally just seems like wrong place, wrong time, and a horrible, tragic accident occurred because of this. Looking at this, I would not say that the skater, that the defenseman did this on purpose or had any, malicious intent.
I would tend to agree.
Now, obviously, if we're proven wrong, then he needs to be convicted criminally.
Yeah, I mean,
and never be paid to play the sport again.
Yeah, absolutely. Obvious. That's the obvious. I would like to think that it was a out of control hip check as well. That's what it looked like to me. Like he got spinning too fast, and that leg flew up. I mean, unless this guy is some sort of sociopath, psychopath, he's going to have to live the rest of his life knowing that this has happened. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy bows out of some hockey, despite intent of the occurrence, because that's a pretty traumatic thing. Something that you've loved and you've played your whole life. You don't really think about one of those players that jumped on the ice that night isn't going to go home. So a really sad event, something that we never wanted to discuss and talk about when we decided to start doing a hockey sports podcast. It's we got to talk about it because it's kind of in our world, but it's not something that we wanted to bring on and discuss for sure.
But time to move on. Speaking of going home, someone who is going home is Nicholas Backstrom of the Washington Capitals, who is taking some time away from the sport for health reasons. The 35-year-old recently underwent some resurfacing surgery on his left hip. And he returned to get 7 goals, had a subpar season. This season, he's struggling 1 point through 8 games. So he is taking some time away to maybe he'll come back, maybe he won't, but we'll see what happens. He's had a good career.
Oh yeah, a cup winner, a guy that has been around for a while, has always been a solid point producer. You hate to see a guy like him go, but I am gonna let me see. I'm gonna look up his career earnings. I always like to do that when somebody retires and to see. I don't feel bad for you, So, oh yeah, I'm sure he's gonna be all right with his 81.5 mil of career earnings and has a current net worth. Also, though, I want to talk about this. His current net worth is 92.5. What is this dude do? You know what I'm saying, Bobby? What are you doing that your career you've made $7 million in? You know what I'm saying? Like, how is your net? Like, you have $80 million in earnings, and I know that's not all at once, but half his career ago he had 40 million. It just seems like you could have made it a little more there. I guess Putin's taking his cut, so I mean, you gotta. He's just happy to be breaking even here.
Yeah. Let's move to outside the NHL.
Now that you know what's happening inside the boards, time for the rest of the headlines with news from outside the boards.
I almost called it. The Rangers win the first World Series title in 63 years that they've been a team. They broke the MLB postseason record and went 11-0 on the road en route to the championship. And last week I said that the Rangers would win it in 4. They won it in 5. Pretty damn close.
They call it a Baker's sweep, Bob. But come on, dude, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah. Hey, good almost call, man. You really almost did it, dude, and I'm super proud of you. Dude hadn't watched a baseball game in 40 years, so I'd say that's impressive.
I probably called it more accurate than most of the pundits did on all the sport channels.
Easy money. I think the Rangers were favored to win, so I think that you were on the side of most, but almost getting it, Bob. Only missed one game, and we act like you missed it by one, and it was 100 games. There were 7 total potential games. No. Hey, good call, Corey Seager, his second World Series MVP. But good job, man. You really did it, and you were really proud of it was super funny because you were like really proud of yourself. You sent me like a text message at like 6:50 this morning and saying, "Hey, your boy almost did it." Like, what?
I know. I sent it. I sent it right after the game at like 10 because I did watch the end of the game. So I sent it at like 10 p.m. and then I responded to your message this morning with the horseshoe hand grenades and World Series predictions.
Yeah. So it was super funny because, like, honestly, normally if I didn't put anything about baseball up, you would never know it even existed. I could very easily just put MLB no longer is happening, and Bob would be like, "Fuck, that's crazy, man. It's wild, bro."
But all right. What's up next? Let's see. Coaching legend Bob Knight, famous for both victories and outbursts, has died at 83. Legendary coach with I know
Indiana.
Army and Indiana. I don't remember the third school he was with. I know Army, Indiana, and one other one. I'm trying to think of what that third school was.
I want to say I think it's like a big school. I want to say Army, Indiana, Texas Tech.
Texas Tech
to 08. Yep. Yeah, that was his later days. Yeah, man, super sad. Honestly, an icon for sure, right? I mean, there is very few people that will live on in your memory. Like, dude, we were never in his heyday. We never got to see him be great at coaching like he was, earlier in his career. I mean, not that he wasn't great at coaching, but he wasn't as dominant at coaching. But I mean, him throwing the chair, dude. It's like it'll live on in history. The sweater, dude.
Yeah.
People are still being him for Halloween. It is crazy that he's so prevalent in our mind. And so 3 national titles, definitely one of the greatest of all times. And yeah, man, sad to see him go.
Yep. And speaking of Bob Knight Halloween costumes, that moves us into our main topic. Ooh, we are silky smooth with the transitions today, my man. We're talking favorite Halloween costumes, or just costume in general. Doesn't have to be Halloween. So why don't you go first? This is your idea of a topic.
Yeah,
What
man.
is your favorite Halloween costume, or just whenever you decide to wear a costume in general?
You know me, man. I like to do costumes in which I don't have to add a lot of different things to what I normally would wear. Carry a prop or two. I would have to say, I mean, I absolutely love being Bill Murray from Space Jam. That was a great one. Clearly pretty dominant. This is tough, man. You put me on the spot for the question that I asked here. I'm going to tell you, and it's because of I didn't require any props, but the ability to adapt to situations in this costume was great to me, and I've seen it so many times. Forrest Gump. When I was Forrest Gump, I very much enjoyed that because I would just like go from place to place, and I would just start sprinting, dude. Just immediately just start running from place to place. And then, because the funny part about Forrest Gump is throughout history, he's a part of history and he's in all these big time events. So I kind of, I was having a few bob, if you can believe it or not. And I started to get this idea. We were like out. So like a ton of people and people we don't know and stuff are wearing different costumes. And like, so there was a lot of Game of Thrones. It was that kind of heyday, like where everybody's Game of Thrones in it. You got Kings of the North. You got, all the folks, Kingslayers, everybody's afoot. So I started when I would see them taking group pictures, and I would go and I would like stand in the background. Like I was like Forrest Gump was like the Kingsguard of Jon Snow. There was a small period of time where I followed around a King of the North, Jon Snow, as his Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. Like you could just see Forrest Gump stumbling into a situation in which he becomes the Lord Commander of a Kingsguard, and so it was very fun and funny to me. So I think that Forrest Gump, probably I'm going to have to go with my favorite Halloween costume. Plus it's just shoes, pants, a button down short sleeve shirt and a hat. So I love the costume.
And AIDS.
No, he didn't have AIDS. So,
well, I mean, at the end of the movie, didn't him and Jenny like get married and hook up?
Yeah, that's not 100%. No, they hooked up, had the kid. I mean, maybe he got that, but I feel like he protected up. She knew at this point, so she needed him.
Yeah, but Jenny was kind of a bitch.
She was absolutely a bitch, but it was always out of selfishness, and so she needed somebody to take care of this kid, and so that's what. But maybe he got HIV. I mean, he probably would have started with HIV. I don't think you start with full blown. I think that you start.
Full-blown AIDS.
And let's be real. Forrest Gump, if Forrest Gump would have got it, he would have stumbled into a cure for it, and it would not be here.
Yeah.
So that's how we know for sure that he did not, in fact, have AIDS.
Yeah.
What about you, man?
Sequel,
what about you, man? You started this.
For me, so I'm a big fan of deep cut group costumes. One of my favorite ideas
for sure.
that I've been telling you for years.
I know. We've been trying to get it together.
Everyone goes as Edward Norton from a different movie, but one guy is Brad Pitt.
Yes. It's
and I just think that would be
It's too
Yeah.
bad that
I mean,
Edward Norton characters are harder to spot in the wild. Like there's a few that are very okay, I know who that is. Like you could do Hulk if somebody doesn't fight you on that. You could do American History X, Easy Money. That's one that people would know. You have to do Fight Club. You know, you have to do that character from Fight Club to kind of complete the ensemble. Although I think we talked about it being funnier if nobody in the group was I forget his name in the movie. I remember Tyler Durden's name. But see, I think it would almost be funnier if nobody in the group was Edward Norton from Fight Club. You know, like he's the only, since it was only ever one of the two. But yeah, I think that's hilarious. And it's funny. We always get to talking about it. I need to go and do my yearly search of the group of girls that do a new actor every year. And like they did like, Tom Hanks. And then so everybody, it's like a large group. Everybody in the group is a different Tom Hanks character or, I mean, obviously we were just talking about it. You just brought the idea, but that, I think we remember talking about that. They do such a good job of like getting the whole crew. I think it's dwindled because, you know, they're getting older and they're not all in college and don't have just a bunch of time to make Tom Hanks costumes or whatever. But,
I think doing a bunch of, Bill Murray's though would be fun.
Bill Murray's would be great.
You have 3 easy ones. So just having 3 different Ghostbusters.
Space Jam, you can have a Ghostbusters. But then
Stripes.
You know, Stripes, Groundhog Day. There's so many
Garfield.
great Bill Murray options. Well, I think we determined though that as far as single actor group costumes, that Tom Hanks was the GOAT, right? I think that we kind of determined that if you have a large scale group, it was really hard for us to say that Tom Hanks was I mean, he's been an astronaut, he's been a baseball coach, he's been a wild crazy man on an island, you know, there's really not much that Tom Hanks has.
I thought we said Robin Williams. I thought we said Robin Williams.
See, I would still
I thought that's what we talked about.
Maybe Robin Williams,
because you got Miss Doubtfire, you got Genie, you have Toy Story.
No, he was not in Toy Story.
You got Peter Pan. Was he not?
No. You're thinking of Tom Hanks because Tom Hanks was Woody in Toy Story. That's why we landed on. Robin Williams would be good for sure, but he's not in Toy Story, I don't believe.
Oh, he was almost in Toy Story. That I knew that. I knew a piece of trivia.
So he
turned down the role of Woody.
So that's
where I knew the trivia from.
So it's a lot like he is in Toy Story, like you are at predicting World Series, like almost there, but not
almost.
Quite. All right. Well, we didn't have much to bring in on the main topic. If we want to talk a little hockey real quick, you did win the bet that Vegas would be, I guess it's not a bet, but Vegas would be the undefeated, the longest. The prediction, yes. Although everybody lost on the same night. It just so happened that Vegas's game started after the other two, which is, hey, a win's a win. Technically winning is the only way that we allow wins on this podcast. So, but yeah, man, a lot of good hockey. Vegas is looking strong. Bruins are looking strong. Red Wings are looking strong, brother. I've been paying attention to them. So, good season of hockey so far, man.
For sure. I'm looking at the schedule. I'm looking to see who plays tonight as of recording. A lot of teams play tonight.
Yeah, it's a big night.
But not Detroit. Detroit does play. They could be the first team. They're playing right now. They could be the first team to 11 wins, possibly.
Okay. Yeah. They've got the most games played. You mean they can't be to 11 win? You said Detroit? They're at 7 wins, 6 wins right now. So.
Oh, I was looking at points. Sorry.
Yeah.
Games played. I was looking at games played.
You are.
The ESPN app changed like where they put games played, wins and losses. on my screen, so I'm used to seeing it wins, losses, games played.
Yeah.
Now it's games played, wins, losses.
Yeah,
and that throws me off.
Because ESPN hates you as a hockey fan. So,
yes. But let's get into our joke of. Oh wait, I guess we need our games of the week.
We're gonna do yeah.
So we need to move into our games of the week.
You especially want to bring.
We
this
didn't even
up.
use the drop.
You especially want to bring this up.
Games of the week. Bobby and Brandon do the work, so you don't have to. The best from around the NHL and what to watch.
We were just talking about games, and I just assumed we'd already done it.
Yeah.
But, all right. So we've got our games of the week, and I'm coming off of a perfect weekend. I am now sitting at 5-1. Bond had a rough weekend at 2-4.
I got you right where I want you, is how we in the clubhouse are talking about it. Okay, just so you know.
I don't. So question, is this the first time in the show's history that one person has won all of them and one person has lost all of them in the same week against each other?
No.
I think this might be the first time.
Maybe. I don't know that we can. It's kind of the opposite of like historical sports data, where most sports go up in games. We've actually gone down in games. So there's absolutely been a time where one of us has won 3 and the other's lost 3 of them, and potentially 4. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely the first time since we've been picking 3
versus 0%.
Since we've been picking 3 that it's been 100 to a 0. We have all the data. If once we get an intern, we can have that bad boy pour over the data, and then so.
Well, the good thing is I have a large selection.
You have a pool
of teenage. I have a pool of interns I can choose from.
Dude. We don't. Hey, look at this. Listen to this tagline. We don't offer college credit. We will not help you with your future, but we're pretty chill. You know what I'm saying? We're pretty chill dudes.
Yeah.
So
I can offer you like 5 extra points of credit.
Hey,
quiz.
You hang out with us, you don't have to worry about shot prices, dude. You know what I'm saying? That's where we come in. Not to provide them with shots, to let them know where the cheap shots are, everybody. So
yeah, let's not incriminate ourselves. All right, let's start it off. My first game of the week. I've got the Flyers headed into Buffalo. So I've got the Flyers at the Sabres Friday at 7 p.m. and I'm taking the Sabres money line.
Yeah,
they played 2 days ago, or they played yesterday day recording, and Sabres won. I think Sabres will get it done again.
Okay, like it. I have done something, Bob. I don't know that we brought up the record. You obviously you threw it in my face that it was 3 wins for you, 0 wins for me. So I'm currently at 2-4.
I did bring up the record.
Okay, yeah, you're 5-1. Money wise, you are dominating, my brother. We are $6 in, and you're at $8 and $8.72. Yeah, you won all 3, so that was nice. But that puck line, bringing in that $1.20 was great. I'm not terrible at $6 in, but I'm at $4.25. So I'm down. So I'm gonna go a little wild, Bob. I brought that up to say that you don't have to ask what my bet's going to be. If I'm picking the team, I'm going puck line on them. And oddly enough, I've gone all away teams, puck line, doing it big, baby. Devils Blues on Friday at 7 p.m. Obviously, it was my turn to pick first, so I got the better game. So forget Bobby's game. Yeah. Put his on the picture-in-picture screen. Watch my game. Watch the Devils go yard on the Blues. I'm hoping the puck line's 2.5, Bob. That's what I think's finna happen.
Nice. All right, second game. Why don't you go first? You got the first one of the Saturday night.
Like I said, I'm going with the away team on a puck line. I've got the Rangers over the Wild on Saturday at 7 p.m. There is a ton of great games today. It was very difficult to narrow it down. I really like the way the Rangers are playing. The Wild are a team that are not doing as well as they would like. So I would like to see them kind of step it up. But I just think the Rangers are playing too good of hockey right now. So I'm going to go with the Rangers puck line.
Nice. My second game, I've got the Colorado Avalanche going into Vegas. I think it's going to be a matchup of some Goliaths.
Best game of the
Golden
weekend.
Knights take this one.
Best game of the day, for sure.
I've got the Golden Knights money line, and that is at 9 p.m.
Yeah, I love it. But I'll tell you what I would do with that one, Bob. I'd have gone Golden Knights puck line, baby, because I'm about losing that money this week, man. Golden Knights. So the Golden Knights on a back-to-back. So I know I'm going to stick with it. I was thinking about switching it to a money line on that second game of a back-to-back on Sunday. But they are playing the Ducks. And so the Ducks have been, not a team to sneeze at for sure. They're 6-4 right now. But okay. I think the Golden Knights are just too strong. They are still the only team without a regulation loss. I'm sorry, the Bruins also a team without a regulation loss, but at this point we are battling for those two teams for the last regulation loss. Bob, what are you calling?
Vegas. Gonna ride my Golden Knights.
All right, I like it. They are the team to beat for sure.
And Boston plays tonight against Toronto. And Vegas is Winnipeg. So I mean, Toronto. That's not. That's not a gimme win.
Did you do your Sunday game, brother? I'm sorry, I don't think you did.
Not yet. I'm about to do that right now.
Okay.
My Sunday game. Yeah. Sunday game. I've got the Devils at Chicago. I think the Devils go in there, and I've got the Devils puck line.
Yeah, don't hate that. Blackhawks had a few strong games, but are sitting at the bottom of the Central right now. Blues and then Wild, a couple of teams that surprise. Preds sitting at 5, Coyotes sitting at 4. Before we move into joke of the week, we didn't talk a lot of hockey. Any specific team you expect to step it up a bit more or fall?
Yeah, I expect Seattle to step it up.
Okay. Don't hate that.
Obviously it's easy. It's easy to say Edmonton. They should be performing, but they're not.
It's not necessarily easy though. It's not necessarily easy. Having those players have never equated to super long-term success. So,
but
I'm surprised at the
Seattle.
Penguins. That would be my surprise team. They are sitting at the bottom of the Metro. Not that I expected them to. I did have them as a playoff team, so I wouldn't have been wondering about it if they'd kind of fallen to 5 or 6. But sitting down there at the bottom, below the Blue Jackets, is a tough road to ride with only 6 points after 9 games played.
Yeah, it looks like Davey and I's forever bet. We might both.
Oh
Pittsburgh this year.
Oh yeah. You guys, well, I mean, I guess wasn't it whichever team gets farther in the playoffs? So that means
and since then, neither team has made it to the playoffs.
Okay, so
since we've made that bet, none of us have made it to the playoffs.
The bet continues. The bet continues. It looks like it will continue, brother. Yeah. So it doesn't. Y'all don't have anything to stress.
The good thing is Pittsburgh has now left a spot open. One of our guys just has to claim it. So
there we go. There we go.
But all right, let's move into our joke of the week.
The weird. Corey Perry. Yeah, I don't like that. Wild. I think the first read was a good one. Now I'm overthinking it. Outlandish.
Each 6th chick sat on a stick. Little tongue twister.
And downright dumb.
You're kidding me.
It's time for the joke of the week.
So you found this one, but I want to start off by saying that next time I got it. All right. Well, I want to start off by saying that I can't understand anything in this. It's English, but it feels like it's not English. So a driver instructor was fined hundreds of euros after his 17-year-old student was caught speeding on Tuesday on the A2 between Boxtel and Den Bosch. The police told Omen Rap Brabant that they stopped the training car for driving 154 kilometers per hour in a 130 kilometer per hour zone. The car was also noted for swerving and remaining unnecessary in the left lane. Half that sounded like someone was having a stroke, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah. It's bad. Look, this is what the way I thought this, when I imagined it happening. I mean, it's 95 miles an hour. So it's a good little clip for sure.
Yeah.
The way I imagine the conversation going is, we should go a bit faster, isn't it? And then the kid's like, well, but it's the speed limit. He's like, well, I'm going to show you that you can actually get somewhere faster if you drive faster. And so go ahead. And so he speeds off. Really, he just had.
I'm sorry. Just so I can. Do you think that this was in England?
Yeah, they say kilometers.
It was in the Netherlands.
Same thing, dude. Same thing. I don't know. Okay. I don't know how to do Dutch.
I heard the accent.
Yeah, it was an English accent. Dutch. I thought I saw like an English flag. Yeah, I thought I saw an English flag.
I think the Dutch speak like waffles and pancakes, like a smoke and a pancake.
That's true. I think that's.
I don't know. I
think you're.
It's more Scottish.
Yeah, it sounds like you're getting all your information from Gold Member. That sounds just the only the only thing that you. Yeah, that what sounds like. Yes.
It's the only Dutch person I can think of is Gold Member.
There's two things that I personally cannot stand, and it's people that are it's people that are intolerant of other people's cultures and the Dutch. Obviously, those two things. But yeah, so no, it's not in England, but yeah, it was a similar conversation with whatever Dutch vernacular. You know what's the most surprising to me? Because the Dutch, that's Netherlands, right? I don't want to be ignorant.
Yes.
The Dutch is Netherlands. So how did this guy get a bicycle up to 154 kilometers an hour, dude? That's what I'm trying to say. Why do we even care that this cat is going 95 miles an hour on a road where nobody else is even drive? I guess the problem is in Europe is roads are also for bikes, which is especially in the Netherlands. So, yeah, but just the pure, it's beautiful. That headline is so beautiful. It just immediately made us both cackle. Student caught speeding after driver instructor wanted to show it saves a little time. Like, dude, like, why are you trying to show this kid? Like, why do you care if this kid clearly doesn't know how to drive? You're teaching him. So, what a joke, dude. Yeah. What a funny joke.
So I do want to say this is a 2-for-1 because the side of the story, the Dutch are insane. They have a big problem with trees. So the first headline is one person killed by fallen tree in Limburg. Amsterdam urges residents to avoid parks. The other headline, this is a different thing, is where is it? I missed it, but there was a tree fell on a bicyclist. Apparently, they just have killer trees in Amsterdam. Jeez. Like, trees are just falling on people.
Well, I mean, you said it. It's one of those things that, like, trees fall all the time everywhere, Bobby, but there's so many bicyclists in the Netherlands that, like, a tree falling, you can't help but hit somebody on a bicycle. It's literally impossible that you couldn't. Yeah. So that could be it. But it tells me that if I do ever do a European vacation, stay out of nature, dude. They don't know how to operate on nature. They don't got no Teddy Roosevelt National Parks type stuff like we do over here.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say, so I did some more. There's Storm Kieran going through Europe right now. It's the strongest storm ever recorded for that part. But yeah, these dudes are still on bicycles. They're like, oh yeah, we still need to get to our job at the chocolate factory.
Yeah.
So we take our bike.
Where did they become? That's like you talking about because they're good chocolatiers. Because I think that's the Swiss Bob. I think that's what you're thinking as like the chocolate makers, right? The Swiss are the chocolatiers. The Dutch produce soccer and dopeness.
The Dutch created chocolate milk.
Okay, but all right. It was, bro, if you didn't invent milk or you didn't invent chocolate, whoever just invented chocolate milk was just delaying the inevitable. Like, that's like me saying, like, I invented peanut butter and jelly because nobody ever told me and I did it. No, people were bound to do it. I guess nobody else does it except for America, though. That's a bad example. But if I had to insert a good example, Bob, insert a very good example into this, and it was just bound to happen. People do all sorts of stuff all the time, and you don't think somebody was like, dude, this chocolate is delicious. We should put it in this milk. Get out of here, Bobby. Get out of here. They invented like strawberry milk before like chocolate milk was invented. That would be something to note.
But all right, let's move into what are we doing? Let's move into what are you binging?
First of the month.
Man, I'm trying to think of what I've been binging a little bit of, and
I'll give you a second. I'll give you a second.
So why don't you go?
I'll give you a second. Yeah. I remembered it was first of the month and threw it on there for you late. So you got a second or two. I'm gonna go with. Excuse me. I'm gonna go with FBI True. It is super awesome. It is basically just retelling of big FBI cases. Boston bomber. Getting Whitey Bulger, stuff like that. Stuff that you've heard about, Waco, Manhattan bomber, all that stuff that the FBI did. Now I will tell you, I know a lot of these cases, not like super in depth, but like I've looked into them and have read stuff about them. They definitely avoid anything that they did that made that the FBI did wrong that caused the situation. Yeah. Like the sniper, the DC sniper, the dude that laid the two dudes that Lee Boyd Malvo and Muhammad whatever.
I was living there when it was happening.
You were with them, weren't you? I know you, bro. Where were you? Where can you account for your whereabouts? But yeah, so they were doing that, and so like. Wasn't there like a whole thing? They did tell about the white van thing, but they really played it off. They said, we got all these tips and I got this thing about a white van that they put out there to get all these tips. And then they kind of put it back on the public like, oh, well, we were getting all these tips and we were doing this large dragnet. Wasn't a white van. And like the profile was like, they were like looking for like a white guy in his 40s, basically who they always when killings happen, dude, they're just like white guy in his 40s. He can't take it anymore. He's mad at some sort of other race or other gender or whatever he's done. So they don't really bring that up. But the person who hosts it, that's doing the interview or whatever, because they actually talk to the actual FBI agents that work the case. So that's the cool part. It's a former FBI agent that does the interviews, and they kind of make it like, and it's a very funny tagline too, Bob. I got to tell you this. It's like, we wait to say, we save the stories, what really happened for when we're hanging out with each other or whatever, like the club, like, oh, we can really talk to you about it. But it's a weird way to phrase it because it's a criminal case. So you would think that you would want to tell the full story in court and like have it recorded and stuff. Right. Exactly. So, and I know what they mean. They kind of get the inside gritty details that may not be needed at court or whatever, but it doesn't seem like that. It's like, we told them what we needed to tell them at court, but what really happened, we can tell. And so, they're sitting around at like a bar or whatever with extras in the background, like it's a real bar, and they're drinking beers, which is cool because that's what we do, Bob. That's what everybody should do. Drink a couple beers when they're talking. But that FBI agent is very clearly an FBI agent that has her entire life been in control of situations. She is a terrible interviewer. Who would have thought an FBI agent with a career isn't going to come on and be able to be Dan Rather from 60 Minutes or something, dude? Like, it's just bad. Like, she doesn't know when to ask questions and to probe. She doesn't know when to, because it can be very effective repeating what somebody said if it's a specific thing, but she doesn't know when to do that. When he's like, yeah, and so he started looking for, this person or whatever, and she'll be like, yeah, he started looking for him, huh? Like, what? Like, what are you saying? And she'll just randomly be like, they'll be like, yeah, and the guy was like, had a gun or whatever, and she'll be like, shit. Like it really is just a conversation between friends and not you're actually doing an interview, you dumb lady. So,
yeah.
But it's super awesome because I very much, I talk so much smack about it, but I have nothing but love for the show. So FBI True, if you have a hankering for some old school cases being solved, bro.
Nice. Yeah. So I had to think about what I've been watching, and I guess the thing I've been watching the most, I've been trying to watch it here and there, and well, I think I binged maybe the first half of season 1 was AP Bio.
Oh, so good. So good. Super good, dude. I haven't seen it all. Like, I don't think I saw. Go ahead.
What was that?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I think the internet's being weird. It's going in and out.
You're good.
So let's go ahead and let's move into what's snapping your stick.
Bobby and Brandon are about to find out exactly what snaps their sticks.
All right, so this one hits a little close to home because this was, in our backyard. It also would affect me in my career. But the Rutherford County Board of Education rejects the new Memorandum of Understanding, which is like a contract that they have with the teachers, for what they believe was inadvertently benefiting trans students. Now, I want to say that nothing in this contract was about the student. This is all about the relationship between the county and the teachers and benefits for teachers. That's it.
But also,
they're using these buzzwords to delay the vote.
But also a very interesting way to put it. It's like it's inadvertently helping someone, and I get, and yeah. I don't get their stance. I don't hear what I'm not saying. I get, trying to use something like that to hold up paying more money, because I'm guessing that your contract involved that, Bob. Generally does. It wasn't.
It has to do not more money, but more like personal days rolling over and stuff like that.
That's money. Yeah, that's money to them. That's accounting. Yeah. You've taken accounting before. They count that. That's money. They're gonna send you a report at the end of the year saying, "Hey, this is what your whole job is worth," and they're gonna include a bunch of shit that they didn't pay you for. So, but very interesting way to put it. You know how I would have said it, Bob? I would have said it, not that I would have said it. Again, I want to be very clear. The contract language is inadvertently impacting individuals outside of what the contract intends. Yeah. Right. 1,000 ways to say it that, like you said, wouldn't have got held up because they're like, what? What does that mean? This might help. This might help a little kid get an extra lunch or have extra time to get the bus or whatever. That's a good thing. But as long as you say, hey, this is going to potentially help people that you don't like and don't agree with, then we're all good. Slow roll this. So that is a very I think all of us are upset for you, Bob, and I don't care. I think you get paid too much personally. So all right. So mine is again going close to home. It's far enough away now where it's almost the new week of fantasy football starting. Losing a game by less than a point, dude. I don't know that there's anything worse on earth, bro, than losing a game by less than a point. And it's even worse that both of our games were over Sunday night. So it wasn't even like I had that glimmer of hope on Monday. You know, like if you lose that game less than a point,
Yeah.
at least I didn't have to suffer through. Like I didn't even, not that that football game on Monday was anything worth watching anyway, but I didn't even feel like watching it. And I had other things and other games that had, were in play. But losing by 0.7, 0.8, bro, like, oh, it hurts, bro. It hurts. Like, and because then you start questioning, like, I made decisions that left 0.8 there, left 0.8 here, like I could have won the game had I made a slightly better call or whatever. So it's very frustrating. So I hopefully I can rectify my mistakes, Bob.
Well, I can tell you one thing that is probably a little bit worse than that. And that was someone I saw who on October 15th, I was it, no, I'm sorry, October 23rd. So it was like the Vikings matchup against the 49ers, and they also lost by 1 point. Their 1 point came from when they lost a point because the Vikings kneeled the ball. Yeah.
The kneel down.
That's a rough one.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, anytime you lose that in the last seconds, and I've been a part of games in which I've lost in the last seconds and games in which I've taken over and won in the last seconds. So I feel for those of you out there battling, keep battling. Those guys at the bottom of the lineup, at the bottom, they're gonna start giving up, and you're gonna be able to push in, get to the playoffs. That's all you got to do. Get to the playoffs, and then your fate will set in at that point.
Yeah. I will say, on the opposite side of that is, you mentioned winning in the last second, is and it's still one of my greatest fantasy football memories of all time. We were playing fantasy football. It was the championship game. I'm sorry, it was the semi. So in this game, you went to the championship,
right? I'm familiar.
Like
I'm familiar
points.
with tournaments, Bob.
Yes, how play. Yeah. So the listener may not be. So I'm making sure I'm helping the listeners. They might be Russian, and they might not. There might be a language barrier there.
That's
so
true. That's true.
Now, this is to show how long ago this was. This was when Frank Gore was on the 49ers.
Okay,
I'm down by 15, and 49ers are up a good bit, and there it's less than a minute. They're kneeling the ball. No, they give it to Frank Gore. He busts up the middle for like 45 yards.
There you go, baby. You gotta love it, man.
And I'm just like, whoo, and got the win. I thought it was signed, sealed, delivered. I was out.
Yeah,
there's no way I'm getting these 15 points with less. Like, it's great.
I don't know what's better, actually sitting there and watching the comeback. I think it was a couple years ago in the Dynasty League. You remember that night I was down like 38 and all I had was Mark Andrews. And so it was all but done, right? That game is over. And I was down by a point and it looked like it was done. And for some reason, the Ravens decided to go for 2. And Mark Andrews catches it and I won that game. I was watching it there, but I don't know if it's better. Then I had a Monday night game and I was down 30 some odd points, 35 points. He had like Eli Manning going and all I had was the Cowboys defense and Dez Bryant. And so I went to the rec that night and we played some racquetball or basketball or something. And, we're leaving and I begrudgingly check my score to see. And I had won because I had 39 points from my 2 guys and he had 7 from his guy or whatever. And so that was a really good feeling to have thought you lost and then come back to the win.
Yeah.
So they're both pretty solid.
Yeah. We might do an entire mini episode, not on like fantasy football, like tactics, but just fantasy football stories. Cause
stories, bro. Just the stories.
Yeah. Story time, sitting around a fire, a glass of whiskey and some stories.
Let's do it.
But all right, guys, thank you all so much for joining us. I'm Bobby. He's Brandon. This has been the Pucks Out Podcast. We'll see you all again next time.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Pucks Out Podcast. To see what other ridiculousness the guys are up to, check them out on Twitter and Instagram @PucksOutPod.